Were you good at math?
I'm sorry.
All right. Were you good at math? Me neither. But what did they call all the little things that you had to do on the page? They call them math what? Problems, right? Yep, exactly. And were you like, oh my gosh, these are too many problems. I'm overwhelmed. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like when you first started, like with addition, you literally would not do it ever. From a money standpoint, percentage-wise, what was your percentage increase of revenue for that business?
Unlimited?
Unlimited. Infinite.
Infinite. Right.
You
Okay.
did the hard, do you remember this? Where'd you go from? 0 to what? 0 to 1. Like, that's the hardest part of all this. And you freaking did it. You'll never have that gain. Ever. Again. You did the harder. You guys all did the hardest part. There's a great book out there by Peter Thiel called 0 to 1. And that's the hardest thing. You're literally creating something out of nothing. You created something huge that people were willing to, that never existed, at least in the form. Like you transmuted it into brownies, like alchemists.
Yep.
Friggin' cool. And somebody just saw what you did and then took money out of their wallet or their Venmo, whatever, and said, I'll pay for that. And you went from 0 to 1. 0 to more than, it's an infinite return or infinite increase. So this is where you have whether it's with business or whether it's with, if you're learning to be more charismatic or you're learning to be more fit or whatever, like when you start thinking in this more positive way, recently for last month I've been trying to be more talkative and charismatic, whether it's on camera or whether it's a cup of joy talking to whomever. And before, if I was talking to someone, I'd be like, oh man, that was kind of awkward, or I should have said this, or I should have done this, or whatever. But changing my viewpoint, it was like, that was cool that I actually went up to that person and I talked to them. Or they were in line and that's someone I would have never said, and it was cool that I actually made them laugh. And it came out without me even realizing like what I was saying. It just happened. Whatever it might be, it's more looking on the, like literally the 0 to 1. I would never have done that before. I did it and I got a result, and that's huge, right? Or I talked to that person and I didn't get butterflies in my stomach. That's cool, right? But you guys, with that, going from, you literally had such a huge, that was a humongous thing that you guys did. Not only did you do it, which most people wouldn't, right? You friggin' you're getting paid for it. You guys should be like celebrating, like, cheers, cheers, yay, bam. You guys rock. You rock. See?
Yeah. So we celebrate with each have beer.
Yep. That's huge. That's huge. So that said, so 6 cookies, 6 cookies, $30. Like what problems do you have now? You have different problems now, right?
So the solutions I can come up with.
Well, what problems do you have? That's the first thing.
Lack of money. Currency.
Lack of money. Did you need money to make those brownies?
Yeah.
How much?
Accountants.
I don't know. I wasn't keeping track. So
Okay, what do you guess? Guess. How much did it cost you to make those cookies? $3? $20? And $20 and you sold it for 30. Okay. So what's the problem with your money? Like now you take pictures of those cookies that you created, post those, and then when they pay you, go get the ingredients. Why do you need money?
You're right.
But that's a problem, right? That is a problem, the money. Like that, I just gave a solution to that problem, but you're right, that is money. The problem is, do I need money? Yes, but how can I get it? Right, so yeah, you're right. So it is, that is another problem. What's another problem? Gabe. Did you already make the cookies? Demand getting too high. And what does that cause?
Well, right now we wouldn't be able to fulfill, if we had a bunch of people ordering.
Wouldn't be able to fulfill, or it'd go slow.
Okay.
Which then you'd have overhead cost of the kitchen. Whose kitchen are you going to use? Or they make you pay, or even just you don't know, like that. Was it at your place? So it's only going to happen for so long. You can't use that kitchen for 24 hours, right?
No. Think about a bigger space. Think about property.
Mm-hmm.
How we get that paid for? Because we don't want to just get a $1 million loan for a fucking commercial building.
Yeah. So more problems, right? But what is happening when as you're having those bigger problems? What's the cool thing that's happening?
Solutions. The smaller things will be filled up. The gaps will fill up.
Smaller things are not even an issue anymore.
Yeah.
Like smaller things that are solved with money, because what's happening? You got more demand, which means you get more what? More money, right? So.
As great as you're gonna like. Things just everything just raises up.
Yep.
Like, this car can't carry all the equipment. You just gotta get a truck.
You gotta get a truck, or at some point it might be a food truck or something like that. Whatever. But do you get you will never. If you start trying to avoid problems, relationship-wise, business-wise, fitness-wise, all that stuff, you're gonna just have crappier problems. But if you go head first into these the things that you're afraid of, it'll open up new problems. But they're cooler problems. One of the problems I have right now is where should I expand my reach to? South America, Middle East. I have people in the Middle East that work for me. I have customers in Europe. These are problems that are bigger problems than, oh crap, how am I gonna pay my mortgage or whatever? That's not even close to being a problem at all. It's crazy to think about, but it's what happens. And it's not. And as I was telling you, I'm not saying this in a condescending way at all. Some people be like, oh, it must be nice not have to worry about your mortgage or rent or whatever. It's not. I'm not saying it condescending. How's it going? So it's not meant to be condescending at all. No matter what, the amount of energy on. So I was walking at Old Town Clovis. I like walking that area. I like the architecture. It's super small, but I like just walking around there. And there's a homeless guy there named Billy, called the Goat, because he has a big beard, and he says, just call me Goat, but I call him Billy, because that's his name, Billy Goat. Anyway, so I call him Billy, and his problem. What's his problem? He showed me. He's like, I had this inner tube on my bike that's punctured, that won't refill, and I bought a patch kit that I lost, and for $5 that I lost, and I only have $3 on me. And for him, that's a huge problem. right? For you, is that a hard problem? Is that a huge problem getting a $5 patch kit? Like, could you guys figure out a way to get $5 to get a patch kit? So, is that a big problem for you, Gabe? No, right? It's, but for him, it's huge. And for you to then say, like, if you were to put on him and say, hey, if you were to ask him how you were going to pay, you know, if he could help you to pay rent or something like that, would that be like literally almost an insurmountable problem for him? Yeah, right? Like if I were to go to you with my business right now and say, you know, hey, I want to start a full-on C-level executive agency using what I have now, and asked you to make the market, like the plan for that, would you be able to do that? And I need it done in like literally like a week and have our first customer. Probably not, right? So all these, like, it's all relative, but it's like when I say these lower problems, they're just as hard for that person. It's just like when you do jujitsu or lift weights. Is it hard for that person? It's almost like even harder that first day in jujitsu for that person, right? When you see how gassed they are and they're just like, but later on, you know, when you're avoiding arm bars and triangles and buggy chokes and all these other things, you're able to handle those. Like you're able to handle more than I can on that because how long you've been doing this. Art, same thing. You, actually all of you. So it's not meant to be condescending. It's those problems, but the only way you can grow into those bigger problems is by doing the steps necessary to get to those next problems. And not do the same ones over. They have to be harder problems. I mean, can you imagine, like, what would it be? I give you the example of school, right? What are those, like when were you good at math?
I'm sorry.
All right. Were you good at math? Me neither. But what did they call all the little things that you had to do on the page? They call them math what? Problems, right? Yep, exactly. And were you like, oh my gosh, these are too many problems. I'm overwhelmed. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like when you first started, like with addition, you literally would not do it, ever.
No, I mean, I had to.
You had to do them, right?
Yeah.
Now.
I had to work for each one. Yeah. Anxiety driven too. That's and then they time you. Now it's like,
the time test. Yep.
what you gotta do? Go for the easiest ones first.
And
skip it all over, and then you just gotta try to like work out the hard problems.
Yep.
And worrying the whole time.
Yep. Yep. But like, what would happen? What would happen if you took if every year you did only the problems like on the first couple pages and you never went on to the next pages? Would you get better at math? No, you'd be amazing at those problems, right? But you would never get to the next step, the next phase, right? And you would, you know, even in college, you'd be like, they'd ask you to do fractions or multiplication or whatever. You'd be like, I don't know. So I only did addition and single digit addition. But I'm great at it. I can do any times test. Yeah? So you, like, with what you guys are doing, you have to see these like little uncomfortable things as the next step. It's gonna suck, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna just be like working out and lifting weights. You have to do try your PR, your personal record, right? Your personal best. And that'll take you to the next and the next and the next thing. So it's a good job, dudes. Crazy.
I think it is uncomfortable, like meeting new people and like exchanging.
There's always costs, no matter what. So this is where, like, you don't want to always think. Part of my course that I was creating, one of the downfalls for a lot of agencies is thinking cheap. Okay, I can do it all myself. Okay, so what doesn't allow for scaling at all, because you're going to end up cutting yourself off at the heels. But with what you know, with leveraging, you know, you might be able to buy a piece of land, do what you want to do, and even, I mean, you could use debt to pay for labor or whatever, but rather than being cheap, finding ways to use leverage or whatever, credit, it could even be credit cards, to get what you want, and then off the proceeds be able to pay for the debt and make profit. So you're not like, okay, we have $30 in the business. If we do this 5 times, then we're gonna have $150, but you don't really have $150 because your labor and whatever expenses you had, like buying beers and stuff like that, now that's just ate all that away. You could be buying tea, it doesn't matter what it is, but thinking more of what can you leverage? Can you leverage other people? Can you leverage financial institutions? Can you leverage, like, find leverage points, you know, partnerships, or people who I'm sure you would be able to find or know at some point in time, where you're like, hey, I'll grow this and I'll just give you a proceed of this if you pay. This is how much we're selling it for. We'll give you X amount when we actually sell them. And they let you grow. They give you the water. They give you even the power. Some people don't even realize, like, what they spend in electricity and stuff, and you can take advantage of that type of stuff. So, what's another issue though? You said 6 months. What about the other? Are you able to grow enough to where that 6 months, the other 6 months where you can't grow?
You would have to probably buy it from somebody while yours is growing.
Okay. But then you run into all the problems that you were running into before with dispensaries and stuff like that,
or you just have to buy from one person or something, like at a wholesale rate.
So,
Maybe have another business in 6 months.
how about you have another business in 6 months? Could be. I know plenty of people who are like, yes, I made my first couple of sales on something, and then they realize how difficult it is to scale, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to start a different business. I know a guy named Art who was doing one business, and then he switched over to another business that he's doing right now. So you're going to make shifts and stuff, and that's actually good. It's a good thing. That's a result of the problems that come up. It'll give you better problems. Right, Art?
I didn't switch.
But you restructured, and that wouldn't have happened unless you were getting better problems, right? So that's actually the smart way to go, not necessarily to bounce.